Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Forsyth County Connections, coming to you from the studios of the third floor and Government Center. It's about as specific as you can get. I'm just telling them what floor we're on down in downtown Winston-Salem. A special guest with us is a good friend of the show. She's been on here before, Mara Trimble. She's Public Health Nursing Supervisor for the Forsyth County Department of Public Health. Good to see you again.
You too, Jim. Thanks for having me.
You sent me an email and said, let's talk about measles, so let's do that. Now, cases of measles have increased significantly in several states. So I guess the first question is, what the heck is going on?
So in January of this year, there was a case identified in Texas. And then by February of that year, it was declared an outbreak because there was a community of people there who were under-vaccinated for measles. So it spread very quickly. And so there was a lot of people there for the measles virus to take advantage of and just spread it. Now they have about just closing in on 800 cases in that area.
How are measles transmitted? Because there's some myths out there about that.
Yeah. So measles is a virus and it's airborne. So it can linger in the air for a really long time. So it's super small, can stay in an environment. If a person goes into a room and once they leave that room, that virus remains airborne for about 2 hours. So
are you kidding me?
No.
So if the person just breathes and sneezes and coughs or whatever and leaves the room, it's for how much longer?
2 hours.
Oh my Lord.
So you could have somebody who's in an area, in a store, in a doctor's office, they leave, and anybody else that comes in behind them could get it. So when they do identify a person who has measles and they do a tracking system of where they've been, then they will put out an announcement say, if you've been at this location on this date between these hours, please make sure you're up to date on your vaccine.
This may seem like a stupid question, but why is there such a concern about that? You're talking about, well, there's an outbreak in Texas and there's this and that and people who are unvaccinated. Well, why are you concerned?
So it's highly contagious, but it also, it causes, you get sick from it, you have symptoms, then you develop a rash, but some people, it can go on to lead for more serious effects. So pneumonia and or encephalitis or brain swelling.
Is this always happens to kids, or do adults get measles? I mean, once a kid spread it, or what?
If you're fully vaccinated, if you're up to date, the recommended series is 2 doses. You shouldn't have any problem. The United States in 2000 measles was eradicated, truly in the country, and now we're not at that state anymore. So.
Well, I know you don't want to get into politics. That's not the purpose of this show. But there are factions of people who are telling other people not to get vaccines. Probably not a good idea to say that, right?
Probably not, because really, the nature of vaccine is if we can vaccinate a lot of people, then the people who can't get vaccinated, we can make sure that they stay safe from viruses.
Is that the only way to stay safe, is to get vaccinated, or is there anything else we can do to prevent it?
From measles, no. A vaccine is the most recommended prevention from it. Otherwise, don't travel internationally, don't go to Gaines County, Texas, and don't be around anybody else who has measles.
All right, suppose I get the measles and I'm an adult. Is there a specific treatment, or is there something I can do to try to make it less serious and maybe the effects less serious?
No, unfortunately, measles does not have something like if you have flu, you can get Tamiflu, so something that helps shorten the symptoms, there's nothing. So measles is about an 8 to 9 day course of symptoms, and that whole time you're infectious to other people, so best thing you can do is just treat the symptoms. So usually fever, runny nose, cough, so just comfort.
Do antibiotics? I know I shouldn't be asking you all these doctor questions, but I'm going to do, because I love when you come to the show. But I mean, do you take antibiotics or not? Because when you say it's a virus, sometimes viruses don't respond. So I mean, what?
Correct. Yes. So think of antibiotic as anti-biological, and so that's a bacteria. And so measles is a virus, so that it'd be an antiviral, which there's none developed for measles.
Well, is there anything else, any tips you want to give anybody? I mean, trying to stay out of certain populations, or wear masks? Are we going to get back to mask wearing, or what?
Fortunately, in the state of North Carolina, there are no cases of measles. Our closest neighbors, Virginia has 3 cases, Tennessee has 6, South Carolina has none. So stay up to date on your get up to date on your vaccine. It's a 2-dose series. Kids get them between 12 months and 15 months, and then again right before they go into school, 4-year-old to 5-year-old. Once you have that series done, you don't have to worry about contracting measles.
Okay. Now, as we wrap up, just a few seconds left, the general county website, is there a portal or is there something we should go to, or a specific website to get more information about this?
Sure. Just type in Forsyth County Department of Public Health measles, and it'll take you to a page with more information.
All right, Mara. Thanks. You always give such good information. Thanks for doing that.
Thanks, Jim. You have great questions.
We'll be right back after this.
Forsyth County residents outside Winston-Salem can be notified in cases of emergency. Code RED. Code RED is a free subscription-based alert system allowing residents to opt in and receive notifications from 911 about emergency operations happening near their location. The service is free and notifications are managed by 911. From the Forsyth County Emergency Services webpage, select the Code RED box. Create an account, complete the questions, and you've opted into a program that will keep you alerted. Code RED.
Back now, Forsyth County Connections. With me now is Herbert Nyakuchka. He's a library supervisor for East Winston Heritage Center of the Forsyth County Public Library System. Good to see you, Herbert.
It's good to see you, Jim.
Thanks for dropping by. Where were you born?
I was born in Zimbabwe.
In Zimbabwe.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And now, when did you come to the United States and why?
The land of opportunity.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been here in Winston for about 30 years.
Yeah, but I'm curious why I want to talk about the library stuff going on in just a second. I was just curious, since you and I just met, why Forsyth County? Why? I mean, there's so many places you can go.
I was going to New York, but I landed here, and it was slow enough, and I stayed.
You sort of like Columbus going to the wrong place and thought you were, yeah.
Definitely, it was.
How about that, Jeff? He thought he was in New York and he landed in Forsyth County.
It was,
All right.
it was a change, but
Yeah.
it was.
Now, your particular branch, has a rich community history. What excited you about being part of that?
It's obviously the history. It's how it marries itself into not only the city, but the history of African Americans in the city.
Right. Now, I understand from the email you sent me that there's been some improvements to the library campus, to the surrounding buildings. Tell me about those.
Yeah, so the city has improved the buildings around. They've put a new park, and for the library, the park has been, I guess, an addition. So it's kind of having the library outside as well.
Okay.
They've put in a play park right outside the library, but they've connected the main park with a walkway. And so we've, as the library, utilized that walkway and made what we call a story walk.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so there are 25 stations that we can use either to tell a story or to do story time with the kids, meaning we can have the book actually put in those stations, and that can stay for a
How
couple.
about that?
Yes,
How
sir.
about that? Do you ever read stories to the kids?
So I was with the Forsyth County Public Library in 2010 to 2013 as a children's librarian.
How about that?
And by the way, I do write children's books as well. So
Do you? Okay, what's the title of one of them?
Mark Needs a Home. It's about adoption. Beautiful Shades of Black.
Oh, really? Now, where can we buy those or check them out at the library or what?
We'll be having some in the library soon as a donate, but getthoseBooksNow.com.
Okay. Okay. What hopes and ideas do you have for the future of the center?
It's to bring back the heritage part of the library, bring back more foot traffic into the library, bring back more of the history in terms of knowledge. Just having the building in place as the Heritage Center is not enough. It's why is the building a Heritage Center?
That's important for kids to know, isn't it?
It's important for kids. I mean, you got to know where you're coming from to know where you're going.
Absolutely. Now, we're in the middle of summer reading programs. What are some of the things about summer reading program that you're excited about?
So I've been back with the library for a month, so I'm kind of catching up with what was already in place, and part of that is continuing and growing our book club, which is every Thursday.
Right.
This is for adult programming. It'll be African American Music Month, so we're having a program on that, some Name That Tune competition. We're having some painting, some crafts. We always have story time on the children's side. We
Right.
have Lego Club.
things that bring the kids into the library.
Things
and-
that bring the kids and the adults, hopefully.
Yeah, that's right. And the reading's so important, which brings me, before we lose time, I want to ask you a personal question. Do you remember as a child growing up liking to read? Or because I didn't particularly like to read. I liked to go out and play sports when I was little, but what about you?
I did both. My mother was a teacher, so
So she made you read. Oh,
or I could read early on, so it's easy to catch on to loving reading.
yeah.
If you can read and find out those stories in the books. And
What kind of books did you like to read when you were little?
I read more about science, so it's always nonfiction.
Yeah, yeah.
I have to read fiction now because I'm a librarian, but I'm more nonfiction. It's
Yeah.
got to make sense.
So your mom taught, what grade did your mom teach?
K-12.
K-12. So you sort of fell into this thing of, everything from children's library and writing children's books, and did that sort of come from your parents, or did you get that impetus from them, or?
I'm assuming because once you start reading early, you kind of want to do the same thing. I think my first book, I was about 13.
Right.
So you just carry on into that field of really teaching and information and education.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, now I guess people can go onto the general website and learn more about what's going on with summer reading program and various events. Is that right?
That's right. So the website, or they can stop at any of the 10 branches, and we do have little booklets that will outline all the programs for the summer.
Right. Well, next time you come on the show, I want you to bring a couple of your books. I'm interested in that, and we need to get those in the libraries too for kids to read.
Definitely. I appreciate it.
Herbert, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back after this.
This is Forsyth. Property fraud is real. Protect your property today. Sign up for the Forsyth County Register of Deeds Property Fraud Alert. Be notified by email if someone tries to use your name or address on documents filed with the Register of Deeds. Following an alert, you can contact your lending institution and police to file a report. No Register of Deeds office has the authority to remove any document. Use our free property fraud alert at forsyth.cc/ROD.
Back now on Forsyth County Connections, our special guest is Krista Smith. She's Director of Forsyth County Department of Social Services. She wears many hats and does many things, so we were glad she could spare a few minutes with us. And you sent me an email a few days ago and said you want to talk about Path NC. What is that all about?
Yeah, so it is. It stands for Partnership and Technology Hub of North Carolina, but it is a case management system for our child welfare social work staff, and it's the first time Forsyth County has ever been in a system that will network us with other counties, so that we can share our work and they can see ours, and that we can be more efficient.
How is this going to help you do things for children and families that maybe you hadn't been able to do before or not as well before? Or give me an idea.
Yeah, so Forsyth County, it's been what's called a paper-based county. So our social work staff write their notes out, handwrite their notes prior to this. They handwrite forms that they are required to fill out. And so this is the first time that they're going to be able to do everything in a computer system. It's also all mobile, so they can have it on their cell phone, on a tablet, out in the field with them. And so not only will they be able to do their work directly into the system, but they'll be able to research information in that system and have it readily at their hands and available to them when they need it.
Well, let me ask about foster care placements. Would this new system help with that?
It will. It'll help us be able to know where our children are without having to check a spreadsheet or come back into the office to do that. Right now, it is our intake and assessment, so kind of the front half of our process has gone in, and the state is going to be rolling other groups of counties in through the rest of 2025. Our foster care and adoptions is expected to go in early 2026, and then we will have our whole system in there.
Yeah, so that should really make things run better for us on the county level, right?
Absolutely. And then this allows us to, for the first time ever, be able to see our data in reports and oversee and have some accountability to make sure that cases are moving along and not stagnating, and that we're getting to safe decisions with our families on a quick basis and being as efficient as possible with it.
Man, this sounds fascinating. Now, how are you going to make sure all this gets launched successfully? I mean, maybe this is getting too far in the weeds, but overall, how are you making sure it's going to go smoothly?
Yeah, so we actually worked for several months with an internal team of people across our agency to do things like cleaning up some of our data, making sure we had turned our reports in, making sure that we had all of our staff trained, because it also had a policy change component to it. So we had to train our staff in new policy and train our staff on how to use the system. And so we did a lot of readiness activities. And then about 30 days before we launched, the state came and partnered with us on rounding out some of the readiness activities to make sure that we were going to launch as efficiently as possible and seamlessly as we could. On the week that we went in, so we went in on July the 2nd, which is about 2 weeks ago now, Forsyth County was the very first county to put a report into the system.
Okay.
It launched at 9 a.m. and we had a new report in the system at 9:01 a.m.
Wow.
And from there, we have really been rolling. Now, like with any new technology, there were a few hiccups, but we saw most of those resolved in the first 24 hours. And so our system is really running well and our workers love it.
Before Tom runs out, I just want to ask you a personal question. What gratification do you get from the work you're doing in general, and maybe with this initiative specifically, but with children and families, and what do you get out of it?
Yeah. So I entered this field in child welfare almost 25 years ago. And so that's kind of my background and my passion area. And so I have seen workers that have struggled without having a system for 25 years. And so this in particular is really gratifying to me because I've been able to advocate for Forsyth County to be in the first group to launch this system. And when I became director about 2 years ago, one of the biggest pieces of feedback I got from social workers was we need a system. We need a case management system. So
Yeah.
to finally realize that is so exciting.
That's great. How can people learn more about what's going on? Is there a website or something?
Yeah, we have a news release that's out on the forsythcounty.cc website. So our main website will have some information about Path NC.
Krista, thanks for all you're doing for so many people. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.
Does that golden dust have you on the defense? Stay ahead of the pollen with the Forsyth County pollen forecast delivered by email.
You got mail.
The Forsyth County Office of Environmental Assistance and Protection uses a pollen sampler in downtown to capture readings Monday through Friday. They analyze the findings, create a forecast, and
You got mail.
you have a forecast in your email for the next 3 days. Sign up online today.
Back now on Forsyth County Connections. Thank you for staying with us today. And we have a special guest who's been with us before. We're always glad when she can stop by. Celine Richards, Extension Agent for Horticulture, Small Farms, Urban Agriculture, Local Foods with the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service in Forsyth County. And after that title, we are out of time. Thanks for being here. No, I'm just kidding. What's the mission of the Cooperative Extension Service, and what do you guys do?
Yeah, so at the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, we're a statewide organization with a Forsyth County office. So every county and across the state has an office, and here in Forsyth County, our mission is very similar to all the other offices across the state. Our job is to bring resources from land-grant universities to the people who live here. So that could be under the topics of agriculture, youth development, and leadership development in our youth
Right.
across the county, nutrition and food safety. We have financial literacy people at our office. So our job is to help people put knowledge to work, whatever that be that
Right.
they're seeking in their communities
Right,
and their lives.
okay. And now there's the Urban Farm School. I want to learn more about the Urban Farm School. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, our office has a lot of different programs that we are able to offer to Forsyth County citizens. Among them is the Urban Farm School. The Forsyth County Urban Farm School is a 12-week course where beginner aspiring farmers get to join us in the classroom and in the field, where they practice farming so they can take those skills and experiences to their own farming operation. So the students are taking, they're planting a crop, they're planting that crop, they're prepping the field, maintaining that crop throughout those 12 weeks. At the end of it, they get to sell it at market.
Now, all right, now let me back up a second. These are already established farmers who come to the Urban Farm School and learn and take that knowledge back, or is this also for people who want to get into farming or what?
It's a mixture. So some people have, they said maybe they've started a small operation and they're trying to gain new skills. A lot of them are aspiring, right? They said, I have this much land and I'm trying to develop it into a small produce farm.
Right.
And so through our program, they're able to get hands-on practice and hands-on resource connection to then be able to go implement it themselves.
Speaking of helping farmers, what kind of resources in general do you help beginning farmers with? Are there things that you just offer, advice, or can they call up or go to a website or whatever? How do you help, in general, how do you help beginning farmers?
Yeah, that's awesome that you said that, because we have that class, but outside of the class, I'm here year round to help. Between me, other agents in the county, as well as statewide, we're all here to help farmers when things come up. So we do a lot of troubleshooting help. So, hey, my tomatoes look funny. I go out and try to help them. Either I can, give an answer, or I can connect them to state resources. There's a lab where we can send off samples. We can send off soil samples as well as tissue samples to help diagnose issues, so that they can move forward, with healthier plants. But we also do, resource connection. So, helping with, business planning, marketing, product development. Making sure that they have their best foot forward.
Well, of course, I know about what you do. Are there other organizations that help farmers?
Oh, yeah. So that's what's really cool about Extension and organizations around. We're all just one big team trying to make sure that farmers can be as successful as they want to be. There's all kind of organizations in the county. For business plan development, there's the small business centers that help for free.
Right.
There are food incubators that can help with value-added product development, so things like jams, jellies, or food processing businesses.
Right.
For those farm products that you can sell so much now, but you want to be able to hold stuff over.
Sure.
There's also groups that can help with land access, which we know in an urbanizing county is a challenge facing a lot of our growers. So,
and there's some people that will say, hey, Celine, I don't want to be a farmer. I respect farmers. I don't want to be, but I am interested in food, or I'm interested in nutrition. How can those folks get involved?
Oh, there's so many ways. So there are farmers, like I'm saying, all across the county who would love your support. So supporting local is probably one of the first things I'd say is, go to the farmers markets, go find a farm. A lot of our farms in the county have on-farm farm stands that you can go visit. So go get a product off their farm stand, but also, take a walk around, get to see what agriculture looks like in the county. And if you're not able to get out to a farmer's market or a farm stand, go to the local food section in your grocery store. Just about every grocery store here has one.
I try to buy local stuff when I go into the store, locally grown and tomatoes and stuff. So I do my part.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for that.
Thank you. All right, Celine, come back anytime, will you?
Yeah, happy to be here.
We'll be right back after this.
76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.
Back now on Forsyth County Connections. Thanks for sticking with us throughout the program. In our final segment here, we welcome a guest who's been with us before. Katie Hyde's public health educator for the Forsyth County Department of Public Health. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I got this weird email from you, and it said something about blood pressure machines and libraries. Now, I might be a little dense, but usually you just go and get books and things in libraries. What's this all about?
Yes, so the Forsyth County Department of Public Health and the American Heart Association have partnered to launch a program called Libraries with Heart.
Okay.
So far we have 2 libraries participating in this program. We have a Central Library on 5th Street and Carver School Road Branch Library. And our libraries are a trusted community resource, and as you mentioned, you typically just think about checking books out.
All right.
But they do a lot more than that just now. So we have expanded that even further by offering blood pressure monitoring systems at these libraries.
Right.
And the resources at these community hubs.
Why do you think a library, you sort of already answered this, but just we'll expand on this. Why a library is a good place to check blood pressure?
A lot of people are at libraries already. People might be going to the library to check a book out, or a movie, or a video game, or even just to use the computer. So the fact that we have a blood pressure monitoring system already there, they could just use it while they're already there.
Now, I think you said a minute ago there were 2 branches, the main branch, and there's another branch that has them. Is there a plan to maybe expand that to all the libraries or what?
Yes, we would love to expand this program to all of the libraries throughout Forsyth County.
Right. Now, you know, look like a healthy person and take care of yourself and everything. So I'm just wondering, what's your assessment of why it's important for all of us, even kids, to know what their blood pressure is?
So high blood pressure is the leading cause of heart disease and stroke. And high blood pressure is also known as the silent killer because a lot of times there are no symptoms of having high blood pressure. Yet it can cause serious damage or even death in
Right.
people. So the info that we get from these blood pressure systems from the health department and the libraries does not replace medical advice from your doctor.
That's right.
So,
You still need to go for checkups and whatever.
exactly. We recommend that you go to your health professional if you have questions about a diagnosis or treatment.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point there because even going, you know, once a year, twice a year to the doctor, you know, it's a good idea to check the blood pressure. And I've gone online, and some of these things are not cheap, you know, to try to buy these things that check your blood pressure. So this is a good service because you're not charging a fee for this, are you, for somebody to come in and use it, or?
Correct. It's completely free to go to the library and get your blood pressure checked.
Now, is it hard to do if, regardless of your age or what, I mean, is it hard to do to come in and check it on one of these machines?
No, we've tried to make it really easy to get your blood pressure taken at the library. You don't need an appointment. Just walk into the library and find the blood pressure monitoring station. There's a chair and there's a table with all of your resources. There's
Right.
instructions on how to actually take your blood pressure with the cuff.
Right.
And if you need help, we have trained some library staff
Oh,
that can help
okay.
you take your blood pressure if you need help.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know because sometimes I have trouble following instructions. People will tell you, so that's good. Now, look, let me ask you a personal question. What gratification do you get personally from working on an initiative like this? Because this is a little bit different. This is a little bit different from what you had been doing before. Now you're in with the library and you're partnering, and what do you get out of this?
I think it's really great that we get to do more of a public health perspective and hopefully stopping this high blood pressure before it gets to that point.
Right.
So seeing it from a preventative aspect and getting to educate the public and prevent deaths is awesome.
Well, that's great, and you provide a really great service personally and through your department. We appreciate that. Well, that wraps up this edition of Forsyth County Connections, and I just want to thank a few folks, Ed McNeil, of course, for overseeing the project, and Jeff Fabrizio for being behind the camera and behind the scenes to make sure it gets on, and our fearless leader, the county manager, Chantel Robinson, for doing such great work in managing the county and taking care of things. For all the team here, Forsyth County Connections, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next time.